Crypto Kids, this is my final warning. The Crypto Summit is officially happening in literally 2 hours time, and we're going to live stream it. In fact, I'm going to live stream it with Carl in just 2 hours. Now, in preparation for it, I bought like $20,000 worth of Bitcoin, which is probably a sign that it's going to dump, because whenever I decide to spot buy Bitcoin or whenever my dad decides to buy Bitcoin, usually it just ends up dumping. So FYI, I wanted to give you that disclaimer. But jokes aside, why is this summit important? Well, President Trump is going to be speaking about cryptocurrency and potentially giving some sort of an insight into how this Bitcoin strategy is going to happen. Because the reason why Bitcoin dropped today was, yes, they did sign an executive order to, in fact, accumulate Bitcoin in the future, but it's in the future. So it's not immediate. And the market kind of didn't see that as something to be massively bullish on. But the reality is, in the upcoming 60 days, they are going to find a way. Howard Lutnick and Scott Bessent, both massive Bitcoin bulls. One is the Secretary of the Treasury and one is the Secretary of Commerce, also the two people that have the most influence over President Trump. I think they're going to find ways to buy Bitcoin in a way that it doesn't hurt the balance sheet. So a balance sheet neutral way, I think that's what they call it, without hurting the taxpayer. And I showed you in the previous video, I mean, the US even has a strategic cheese reserve, which they don't really need. So I think they will find a way to sell some, either gold potentially, or sell a couple of their oil reserves. They have a lot of oil, or maybe their cheese reserve, and find a way to accumulate Bitcoin with it. So I'm super confident that the US will in fact buy Bitcoin. So that's going to happen, right, within the next 60 days. And what's super cool is, if you look at the global M2 money supply, and if you look at the price of Bitcoin, both of these, you can go to my Twitter, I posted the chart over there, but whenever the M2 money supply goes down, meaning there's less money being printed, then the price of Bitcoin always goes down, but there's a 75-day delay. And when the M2 money supply goes up, the price of Bitcoin with a 75-day delay also goes to the upside. That is literally it. When the price pumped from November 5th all the way to from around 70 to 109, that was because the M2 money supply went up. Yes, of course, Trump was a catalyst, et cetera, but the primary reason for Bitcoin's movement is the global liquidity. That's simply it. March to November, liquidity does nothing, therefore Bitcoin does nothing. After the ETFs, liquidity goes up, therefore Bitcoin goes up. It's that simple. And the money printer is going to be eventually turned on. Like, there is no way of escaping it. And when you look at the M2 money supply now, it's already gone up. So Bitcoin, within the next 75 days, is going to see that next leg towards the upside. That is why if Bitcoin dumps today, I don't know, to even 70, I can't care less, because I know that if I just hold it for 2 months, it's going to go up again. So yeah, today's going to be super volatile. Weeks is giving you a massive 50% deposit bonus, only available for today if you use the link down in the description below. So if you want to leverage that volatility, then you can do so using Weeks. It's only for today, so make sure to sign up. But I don't know, I'm super excited. It's going to be a 6-hour stream. President Trump is going to deliver some remarks, and Saylor is going to be there. A couple of, Chainlink, I think, could see a major move towards the upside. So in fact, after this video finishes, I'm going to go and buy some Chainlink, because I think Chainlink is the only layer 1 that has sent their founder to, or in fact has been invited to this roundtable discussion, which I think is unbelievable. It wasn't even one that got mentioned in the in Trump's crypto post. But the US government does have around 100,000 Chainlink, so they're not going to probably sell it because of the new executive order, which also includes digital assets. So the differentiation between Bitcoin and the altcoins that the government currently owns is that Bitcoin has, or will have, a strategy to continue accumulating in the long run, but the altcoins don't really have necessarily a strategy to be buying into them, just to not sell them as long as this executive order is in place, which can be revoked by a future president. That is why we need the Senator Cynthia Lummis bill signed into law ASAP. But if this bill is going to get passed, then the likely time that it does get passed is during this administration, because Congress people are massively bullish, cabinet is bullish, president is bullish. Elon is another major whisperer into Trump's ear, and he was in fact present within the room when the executive order was signed. So we have an incredibly, massively bullish lineup, and I think great things will happen to Bitcoin within the next few months. We could even go into a cycle where the cycle is extended, right? We don't even see the bull market top in October, because it could take more time for the Fed to cut rates. It could take more time for quantitative easing to come into play. So this cycle can potentially, like, because you never know what's going to happen, right? And this is just a scenario that I'm telling you. It could be the case where this cycle extends off to be like a mega cycle, in the sense that it continues for multiple years, right? And then eventually you have G20 countries. You'll have other massive nations also wanting to FOMO into Bitcoin, because it will be recognized as a global commodity. And of course, nations have to compete with each other to get more Bitcoin. So I think a lot of interesting and unbelievable things can happen. You can even see the dollar kind of being in trouble in the future. And the US may have to switch to a hard money system where the dollar is backed by a group of commodities or by a commodity. And then there could be a whole financial rebellion where people will understand that the monetary system is a Ponzi scheme, and they could decide to buy Bitcoin and use Bitcoin between peer-to-peer. So there could be a lot of very interesting things that happen. And the beauty of it is the price of Bitcoin is only at $88,000. Guys, we have all of this bullishness and potential massively bullish scenarios, and the price of Bitcoin is only at 88. So I really recommend you to start DCing into Bitcoin. What is the caveat? Well, the caveat is the S&P looks bearish and Bitcoin is still a risk-on asset. So if the S&P does see a drop, then Bitcoin will also see a drop in value. That's the only caveat. And people say that the S&P can enter a recession. If that happens, then Bitcoin can maybe even go all the way to the upper 40 region or 50 region if we enter into a recession now. But I find it very unlikely that Bitcoin does that. And there's even a chance that Bitcoin decouples from the stock market. So to summarize everything that I said, the potential upside for Bitcoin is significantly higher than the potential downside. I'm a little bit of a delusional person. I'm also young, so it doesn't really matter too much. I don't have any liabilities. So my portfolio is basically almost fully into Bitcoin. And if it goes down 40%, I'm completely okay with it. Like, it's not going to impact me in any negative way, shape, or form. But if your entire net worth goes down 40%, and if you feel nervous about that, then you shouldn't be all in into Bitcoin. So keeping a chunk allocated or continuing to buy on a continuous daily basis is always what I tell people who ask me, what should I do? What should I buy? I just tell them, put $10 into Bitcoin per day, hold it for as long as you can, i.e. 10 years, 21 years, and you're probably going to be a millionaire by just buying $10 of Bitcoin per day. And Bybit allows you to do that. You can set up bots. It will just buy Bitcoin for you on a daily basis, so you don't even have to do anything. But yeah, that's probably the strategy I would follow. And like I said, if Bitcoin dumps 40%, I can't care less, because the potential upside is like 100x. So I'm willing to take that risk, and I'm buying spot Bitcoin because of it. And if that sounds interesting to you, then consider that strategy. If you're a public company, if you work in a company, the best thing that you can do is evangelize, tell your company. Literally, Saylor has all of the PowerPoint presentations that he's done for Microsoft and all the other companies available on Saylor.com. So if you go there, or Michael.com, in fact, if you go there, you can pitch your CEO, your finance team, your CFO, why they should buy Bitcoin. And by doing your part, it's just going to create financial revolution all across the world. It just requires all of us to do something about it. So with that said, guys, enjoy the stream that's going to be taking place in 2 hours over on the Moonshow channel. It's going to be an exhausting stream. I'm going to do my best. But yeah, hopefully it should be fun and volatile. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you all on the next video very soon. Take care, guys, and as always, bye-bye.